First of all, I really don't want to discourage you from learning Japanese, but throughout this video I will say many things that might kind of make you feel like not doing it, and I really don't want that to happen, because even though it is very difficult, learning Japanese is pretty awesome and I love every single day of my life when I learn it. Yeah, it's more so that I'm gonna talk about these difficult things when it comes to learning Japanese, not in terms of just the amount of work that you put in, but a lot of this like psychological aspects of it. And I want you to really just get excited at the fact, because it's, even though it's difficult, it's kind of like, you know, if you used to play video games, it was kind of fun to like grind something, right? It was kind of enjoyable to really have a goal that you're going towards and really working hard every single day, knowing that you're making progress to that big goal. So that's kind of my aim with this video. 皆さんこんにちは、tomekkuです。日本語読画方法について動画投稿してるんですけど、もしよかったら登録してくださいね。Also, if you want to get like this little program that I'm making on learning Japanese the way that I do exactly, where it's like laid out for you so you can copy my method basically, you can check that out. Is the first link in the description. それでは、first of all, I don't have a script for this video, so I feel like it's gonna be really authentic, and I want to start with the beginnings of learning Japanese, because if you want to do it anyway, like effectively, the beginning will not be that fun, you know? It will not be easy. If it really was supposed to be fun, you would be like using like an app, or like speaking from day one, or like going to like an online class, or just having classes in Japanese. And it is not really that effective, you know? You really make the most progress when you listen, like watch Japanese YouTube videos, maybe anime with Japanese subtitles from the day one, and you do not understand anything at that point. And on top of that, you have to do it like for 4 hours every single day. So yeah, there is that. Learning a language can be pretty awesome, you know? But it takes a long time and a lot of sacrifices, you know. Something that was always on my mind is that this guilt, when you get into AJAT, or like immersion learning, where basically you know that the only way to get to fluency is you have to listen a lot to Japanese, as much as possible, whenever it is possible. So when you have that as your like standard, as your goal, then you feel guilty every time you watch something that is not Japanese, right? So when you have something that is going on for you, maybe you are learning about some business, maybe you're like learning about some biology or something for an exam where you watch a lot of YouTube videos, maybe you're really into like a theory, you will feel pretty guilty if you watch something in English or a native language instead of Japanese, because yeah, you kind of should feel guilty for that, because it's sapping your potential, and if Japanese is your priority, then everything else should be like aligned to it, if you know what I mean. When you don't align everything and you try to have this balanced approach when learning Japanese, it turns out exactly how the first 2 years of me studying Japanese went, which is basically I learned fucking nothing. I had online classes 90 minutes a week. Apart from that, I would go on Duolingo. I would like, learn Japanese 20 minutes a day. I mean, of course I didn't like believe that, but I thought, it's better than nothing, right? I'm still making some progress. Yeah, here's an insight for you: you do not fucking make any significant progress. If you think that learning Japanese is gonna be like learning a language at school, then it's fucking not, alright? Even at school, you do not basically learn a language. Like, I had these classes in Spanish, you know? The first year of high school, I had like 18 hours of Spanish a week, right? So kind of a lot. And yeah, after that first year, I was speaking pretty well. But then, it was like just the amount of time with Spanish made me learn it. I was learning with like grammar, with like vocabulary. I didn't immerse a lot, so first of all, we couldn't speak Spanish, but the level was pretty alright. And then, the next 4 years of high school, so yeah, my high school is 5 years, we basically kept on doing grammar without really speaking too much. The only addition was that we had a Spanish teacher who was actually Spanish, so the only reason that anybody in my class speaks Spanish at all is because we had lessons with him and not because we had 18 hours of classes before or because the fact that we still have Spanish classes that teach us grammar. It's not that. That basically gives us nothing, honestly. Nothing in terms of speaking. And yeah, basically nobody in my class is like actually immersing in Spanish. I'm not. A couple people are like interested, they really like Spanish, so they study it at home. Maybe watch some series in Spanish, but I'm pretty sure it's nowhere near the amount of word that is expected of any Japanese learner to learn the language, because it's so much more difficult than Spanish is for English speakers, right? Like, you could basically learn Spanish in like a couple months. I'm learning it for fucking 5 years. And without immersion, even Spanish is pretty fucking terrible for me. For a long time, my Japanese was pretty bad because I would study it the same as Spanish for like 2 years. And my Spanish was pretty better. But then my Spanish stays at the same time and my Japanese goes like this. And in most situations which do not require a vast vocabulary, I'm able to express myself in Japanese better than Spanish, which is like, wow. After 5 years of studying an easy language, a couple months of immersing, like I've been basically learning Japanese for 2 years with a textbook, online classes, the conventional methods, and 3 years overall, of which only a couple months is actually immersing. And that's where I made the most progress. The thing is that if you don't want learning Japanese to take you fucking ridiculous amount of time, you have to be studying it hours every single day. That's just how it is. And you have this time, right? Like, you have 5 hours on TikTok today to spend time watching videos on your PC, like YouTube, playing video games. So you have this time. You also have the time where you're like commuting to school or to work, coming back from it. You have the time when you're cooking food, using a vacuum cleaner, like cleaning your house, cleaning windows, walking your dog. You have a lot of time in your day that you could be passively immersing, which is basically you just listen to Japanese that you understand some of, but you're not as focused on it. Like, you're still focused, but you're doing something else, so like double tasking. You will feel significantly worse in your Japanese confidence if you haven't immersed for a couple days. Like, right now I'm doing more of this YouTube stuff, and I'm not learning that much on the side because I just don't have time to watch YouTube in Japanese. I mean, yeah, I just said it, like, I have time, but yeah, I'm focused on something different right now. I could possibly immerse for a couple hours every single day right now. You will feel significantly worse if you don't immerse. Your confidence will go down when you are put on the spot to speak. Another thing is that you will never be perfect at Japanese. You can get perfect pitch, accent, grammar, vocabulary, but you will never get to that point of a Japanese person in terms of just the cultural significance of these words, of etymology of words, the cultural, like, historical significance of why a saying is used. You will never become Japanese in that sense. I made a video about that, but it's kind of great to treat Japanese as just any other skill that will help you in life, will be fun to learn, will give you a lot of benefits, but it will never become your whole life. And I think that just trying to get perfect in something like this is you get diminishing results, right? At the beginning you can get really good in like a year or two of learning Japanese if you just immerse for long hours, like 4 or 5 hours every single day, like at least 3 hours. But then when you want to get better at that point, you need to start learning like difficult kanji, like the etymology of words. You need to start reading like Japanese literature, learn really obscure vocabulary. You will need to be one of those guys that made an Anki deck which has like 40,000 words. Anki is like a spaced repetition program. And I feel like it is not for most people, right? Most people just want to watch anime without subtitles or get a Japanese girlfriend or something like that, you know? I'm more of the second one, you know? I want to like move to Japan and it's pretty nice. I enjoy just speaking to people around me. And this takes me to another point, that it will take you a lot of time where you can basically express yourself in Japanese. Especially if you study with like a textbook. I would study for 2 years. Actually, every single day I would think about studying Japanese. and I couldn't express myself. It was like so daunting, so depressing, because I wanted to say so many things. I wanted to be fluent, be amazing, wow. And every single time I tried to actually output some Japanese, every time I tried to actually engage with like native content, so just get this reality check that what I've been doing up until now is like gonna take me nowhere near that level. If you're thinking about studying Japanese or you've just started, you might be like worrying about kanji. Like you might have thought that this video is gonna be about kanji because it's like a pretty scary thing when learning Japanese, but honestly, I didn't fucking give a fuck about kanji. I learned a couple hundred of them. I'm basically able to watch anything I want with the Japanese subtitles where I sometimes don't know a kanji. Yeah, it's like if you don't care about kanji, you will not even worry about them, and you will like accept the fact that you don't know some of them and you'll be fine with it. And if you care about kanji, it will not take you that long to learn them, alright? There is a bunch of methods that I'm just not gonna explain in this video because it will be just something completely different and something that I don't really have that much experience in, but I know it's not that difficult, okay? Just a quick thing, if you have no idea about kanji, they're basically, it's not like every single character is different to one another. They basically share the same components, and when I look at a kanji right now, I can break it down into like these small parts that either have a meaning or either make it easier for you to know how to read that kanji. Just for example, like something like this, it's like either read as raku, taku, kyaku, something like that. So when I see this part in a kanji, it's like, alright, I'm either gonna read it like that, like it's gonna read in a aku. Yeah man, like learning Japanese is awesome, it's fun. Like the most fun I ever had in my life was when I was in Japan like just a week ago, and I could speak to everybody on the street, right? And it's even better when you're not that good at Japanese, because when you are, you're just like already pretty confident in your language, right? So when I speak like English right now, like of course my accent and everything, but when I speak English right now, even though I can speak way more freely, when I would speak like a Japanese person, it's like not that fun for me, right? If you know what I mean, because it's like, alright, I've known English for a long time now. But I feel like if you try to speak when you're not that good, not fluent in Japanese, it's just like so amazing, because like, oh, like I said that correctly, even though this language is so difficult, there is so many contextual nuances, they understood me and I actually understood what they said back, and it's funny, like I get the joke. That was just amazing for me, that I could just hang out with Japanese people and really like have this banter with them, like jokes, even jokes about vocabulary, Japanese vocabulary. So yeah, that was awesome. So I feel like that's something that you should be aiming towards. If you just want to understand anime or something like that, it will be a lot easier for you, because you don't need to worry about a lot of things, okay? So yeah, if you're that kind of person, feel even more motivated to study Japanese. If you want to be more of this extroverted, like social guy in Japan, making friends and everything, like speaking, practicing, or like everything that comes with that, then awesome as well. It's so fun to do that, okay? If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, like it's amazing, okay? If you want to get that little course that I mentioned before, click on the first link in the description. Otherwise, you can subscribe to this channel if you want. Thank you for watching and see ya!